The hills of Greenbrier County, West Virginia, were shrouded in an eternal mist. It was a place where time seemed to slow, and every creaking tree whispered forgotten secrets. It was here in 1897 that Zona Heaster Shue became a name spoken with both fear and reverence. Zona's death should have been just another tragedy in a hard and unforgiving land, but it wasn't, because Zona didn't stay silent in her grave. She had a story to tell, and death wasn't going to stop her. Greenbrier County was the kind of place where news traveled slower than the wind through the pines. Dirt roads twisted like veins across the countryside, and homes stood weathered and tilting like old men too tired to stand straight. Life was simple and often brutal. People married young, worked hard, and died young. Hardship was expected. Death was accepted, until Zona Heaster came along. Zona Heaster was the bright light of Greenbrier, lively, headstrong, and beautiful. Her laughter could light up even the darkest corners of the county. And when she met Erasmus Scribbling Shue, a handsome blacksmith with a shadowy past, it seemed like love at first sight, or so it appeared. Within weeks, Zona and Erasmus were married in a small, quiet ceremony. No grand wedding, no celebration, just the two of them, and an uneasy feeling that no one could quite name. Mary Heaster, Zona's mother, watched with wary eyes. Something about Erasmus felt wrong. A mother knows. A mother always knows. At first, the marriage seemed fine, or at least that's what Zona told the townfolk. But rumors whispered behind cupped hands about loud arguments, bruises hidden beneath dresses, and Zona's sudden isolation. Erasmus was strict, controlling, and quick to anger. Zona, once so full of life, became quiet, thinner, almost faded. Neighbors spoke in hushed voices. No one acted. In Greenbrier, a man's home was his kingdom, and a wife was expected to endure. On a cold January morning in 1897, a neighbor boy found Zona's lifeless body at the foot of the stairs. She was lying oddly, her head twisted at an unnatural angle. When Erasmus arrived, he wailed and cradled her body so hysterically that the attending doctor barely managed a cursory examination. No autopsy, no questions. Death by everlasting faint, the doctor wrote. A convenient explanation. Mary Heaster knew better. A mother always knows. Mary Heaster had always been fiercely protective of her daughter. When news of Zona's death reached her, a deep, icy chill settled into her bones. Not just from grief, but from certainty. She knew something was terribly wrong. At the funeral, Erasmus refused to let anyone near Zona's body. He dressed her himself, highly unusual for the time, in a high-necked, stiff-collared dress, tying a bright scarf tightly around her neck, claiming it had been her favorite. Mary noticed the unnatural stiffness of her daughter's neck, the bruised tint beneath hastily applied makeup. When Mary tried to adjust Zona's head on the pillow, Erasmus erupted in fury, nearly violent. The funeral was rushed. The coffin was nailed shut far too quickly. No time for questions. No time for answers. Mary wasn't ready to say goodbye, not yet. That night, sitting by the fire, staring into the dancing flames, Mary whispered into the darkness, "Zona, if you can hear me, if you need me, come to me. Tell me what happened." The wind howled outside. The flames flickered low, and then the room grew unnaturally cold. For 4 nights, Zona's spirit came to her mother, not in a dream, but as a vision. Each night, clearer. Each night, more real. Zona appeared, glowing with an eerie, soft light, her face both sorrowful and determined. She spoke in a voice that seemed to echo between worlds. "Mother, he killed me. He broke my neck in a fit of rage." She showed Mary how Erasmus had attacked her, twisting her neck violently after a furious argument until the life left her body. Mary woke each morning shaken, resolute. She had been given a mission from beyond the grave. Mary Heaster went to the local prosecutor, John Preston, armed with nothing but a mother's grief and a ghost testimony. At first, Preston was skeptical. Who wouldn't be? Mary's unwavering conviction, the vivid details of Zona's death, and the glaring inconsistencies in the case were enough to force action. An exhumation was ordered. Zona's body was unearthed, despite Erasmus's desperate protests and growing unease. The autopsy was performed in the frigid winter air. The findings were undeniable. Bruising around the neck, a crushed windpipe, a snapped cervical spine. Zona's neck had been broken, exactly as her spirit had revealed. Erasmus Shue was arrested for the murder of Zona Heaster Shue. The courtroom buzzed with whispers of witchcraft and ghost stories. Mary Heaster took the stand. When asked how she knew Zona had been murdered, Mary calmly and defiantly spoke about the ghostly visits. She told of the cold nights, of Zona's voice carrying the truth across the divide between life and death. The defense tried to portray her as delusional, but Mary's sincerity, her vivid and unwavering testimony, shook the jury. And beyond her words, the evidence spoke louder. Erasmus's suspicious behavior, his violent past, clear autopsy findings. The jury deliberated for only an hour before delivering their verdict. Guilty. Justice from beyond Erasmus was sentenced to life in prison. He would never harm another soul again. But the town of Greenbrier never forgot how justice had come, not just from the courts, but from beyond the grave. Zona's grave became a quiet shrine. People left flowers, whispered prayers, and asked for her protection. Some even swore they still saw a figure in white, watching silently from the hillside, a faint smile on her face. Mary Heaster lived out the rest of her days in peace, knowing her daughter's spirit was finally at rest. Was it truly Zona's spirit that returned to set things right? Or was it simply a mother's fierce love, piercing the veil of death to uncover the truth? No one could say for sure. Maybe it was both. Some miracles aren't grand displays of light and glory. Some miracles are simple acts of love, refusing to be silenced. And in Greenbrier County, that miracle was very real. A ghost had spoken, and justice had listened. The Greenbrier Ghost remains the only known case in American history where a ghost helped convict a murderer in a court of law. A chilling reminder that sometimes the dead don't rest until justice is served.